कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव, जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ, गिरवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ, गिरवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजना, यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजना, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव, जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव, जय कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा। Ratan Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. Sritikana Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Yeah, so wonderful to have your association. Sridhar Prabhu, Hare Krishna. So nice to have you on this
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
So nice to have your association. Yeah, the last Thursday of this year.
Yeah.
So wonderful that you're all meeting again.
Yeah. Just
Krishna
this week
Katha.
I took off this week so I can spend some time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, Prabhuji. I mean, I feel like sometimes, like, when we have these holidays and we just get into our material life,
Yeah,
it is only due through association of devotees and having sessions like this that we stay connected and not forgetting, our association with devotees and also relishing the nectar of Krishna Katha. And so, no matter how much it is, how much of things we get distracted in the material world, Krishna always pulls us back to his feet in the association of devotees. So I feel always very blessed. The Thursday is one evening when all of us join together just to go through Krishna Katha and understand the divine Leelas. And as always, we share the beautiful sloka from Bhagavad Gita where Krishna Bhagavan says, Janma karma chame divyam o evam yeveti tatvataha chakradeham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna, where Krishna says, one who understands the transcendental appearance of Krishna's divine birth, Krishna's divine Leelas. And once, even if we understand this Krishna Katha, once we leave this material world, we will not come back here, but we will directly go to the Krishna Loka. So that is how purifying and auspicious that Krishna is given this knowledge through the Bhagavad Gita, that even if you're reading, even if you're understanding Krishna, and Gita Mahatyam talks about that. Gita Jayana Salasya Pranayama Prarasya Cha, where Krishna is saying that even if you read once Bhagavad Gita and everything is Krishna Katha, Krishna's Bhagavatam, whether we read Bhagavad Gita and uh, 108. Hello, type hello.
what happened, Prabhu?
I was just seeing suddenly just knocked me out, and he said, something. You're able to let me just come out of it. Yeah, it just it just gave me a message that it's knocking me out of the.
We can hear you, Prabhu. I can
Okay,
hear you.
okay. I'm glad that you're able to hear. Yeah, I was just wondering, like, what happened. Like suddenly, it just took me off.
Okay.
Yeah, as I was saying, like, Krishna gives us this through the Bhagavad Gita, so many messages that even if we hear, because there's so much of misunderstanding, sometimes people think that, yeah, you don't get anything out of reading Gita, but you have to follow it and then only you get the benefit. But Krishna says, Gita Mahatyam says that even if you read once Bhagavad Gita, all the sins from the past life get erased. So we had to take the knowledge directly from Gita Mahatyam and from Bhagavad Gita to get the actual knowledge about Krishna. So I just wanted to just dive into the book of. So we actually last week we covered chapter 40. It is so wonderful that this year we could manage, except for 1 or 2 weeks, we managed to cover all the different chapters of Bhagavad Gita, and we covered so many, totally about 40 chapters. And we've seen in the chapter 39 as well as in chapter 39, just to quick recap for devotees who just joined. In chapter 39, we see how Kamsa sends Akrura to Vrindavan, to Nanda Bhavan, to go and bring Krishna and Balaram and get them in his chariot to Mathura so that he can arrange for the elephants and he can arrange for the wrestlers and all of them, so that all of them he had multiple plans to get Krishna and Balaram to Mathura in somehow or the other, either with the help of the elephants or with the help of the wrestlers, or in through many other ways to get Krishna and Balaram killed out there. So Akrura is a devotee, and he's been sent by Kamsa, and Akrura is like all the way throughout the journey, even before meeting Krishna and Balaram, he's making all his prayers because he's such a pure devotee. And we read about how beautiful his prayers were and that he was looking forward to see Krishna and Balaram, and such in a humble mood of devotion, that he was always looking forward to meet Krishna and Balaram. So once he meets Krishna and Balaram in Nanda Bhavan, then he offers their obeisances, and Krishna and Balaram and even Nanda Maharaj ask, like, what's the purpose of his visit? And then he tells that he has come he's been sent by Kamsa from Mathura to bring Krishna and Balaram because he wants to, arrange for this festival. And, on the pretext of that, he wanted to make sure that Krishna and Balaram come to Mathura, and so that he can get them killed. And we can see, and Krishna and Balaram, they just laugh at him because they know that Kamsa is next in the line, because Krishna and Balaram already has killed so many demonic and entities, and now the next one in the line is Kamsa. And we can see, like in the same previous prayers, how the gopis did not want to allow Krishna and Krishna to go at any cost. They literally did all their prayers, and they were literally cursing the demigods. Why did they were asking for the demigods create some havoc so that Krishna will not leave this place. And they were just even saying Krishna is happily going out there because he wants to go to Mathura, and there's so many people out there and people will love him and all this. So they were kind of like all kind of thoughts were going on for the gopis, and they tried to go there to even stop the Krishna from trying to stop his chariot so that Krishna will not leave to Mathura. So, but Krishna assures the gopis, saying that don't worry about. I will just finish my business and come back. Because Krishna is the supreme Lord, and he knows, why he's going to Mathura. Basically, because we all know, Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya cha duskritam dharma samstapanardaya sambhavami yuge yuge. The very famous sloka from Bhagavad Gita, that Krishna comes mainly to put an end to all these demonic rulers, and to also for the pleasure of his devotees as well. So for both the reasons. So finally, the gopis have been waiting, but Krishna assures them, and he leaves. And Akrura, we seen, he comes to the Yamuna river, and then he goes to take a bath. And once after he takes a bath, and then Krishna and Balaram actually go and take a bath. And then after taking a bath, they come back and sit in the chariot. And then Akrura goes into the Yamuna river to take a bath. And then suddenly when he gets is having his bath, then he sees the Mahavishnu form of Krishna lying on Ananta Seshanag. And that was one of the wonderful, beautiful divine leelas of Krishna. And Akrura is doing so much of prayers because he suddenly sees Krishna in the form of Narayana or Mahavishnu, and Balaram in the form of Ananta Seshanag. And then he's surprised suddenly, because he's thinking, how come Krishna and Balaram? I thought I just now seen them in the chariot, and now suddenly I see them in front of me in Yamuna River as Mahavishnu and Ananta Seshanag. So again, he goes back to the chariot to see whether he's really dreaming or is it really true. And then he again goes to the chariot, and he sees that Krishna and Balaram are there. And then again, he comes back and he sees that here, Krishna is in the form of Mahavishnu. So then he starts beginning to offer his prayers, and that's what chapter 40 we covered. And we can see from all these beautiful prayers, whether they're from Vasudev or whether we from Akrura, or whether from the gopis, that they were so knowledgeable in those days about the transcendental knowledge about spirituality, and how much Akrura is praying about, like the worship of demigods is not the same as worship of the Supreme Lord, and also the knowledge that, this about the three modes of material nature, Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. He was all aware about all these things, and that everything is happening at the mercy of Krishna, and all these different prayers and the different incarnations that have come about. We just covered all these things. So just it's a quick recap on this, and just mentioning about how everybody of us, we're covered by the illusionary energy, because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sharvashaha ahankara vimudatma karataham iti manyate. That the spirit, soul, or Atma, under the influence of false ego, thinks he is the doer of all the activities which are actually done by the three modes of material nature. So everything is being done by the three modes of material nature, but that's in the hands of Krishna. So we can see like how Krishna is actually the one who's even controlling the Prakriti as well. And so finally Krishna falls before the Lord and says, my dear Lord, your transcendental eternal form is full of knowledge. Simply by concentrating your mind on your form, one can understand in full knowledge everything that be, because you're the original source of all knowledge. And this is very important. Simply by concentrating mind on your form, Krishna Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhakti Yoga, Mayeva mana adatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya nivasisyasi mayeva ata urdhumna samsaya. Just fix your mind upon, Krishna tells Arjuna, just fix your mind upon me and engage all your intelligence in me. In that way, you will always live in me without a doubt. So this is what it is, and that's the reason why we chant, because we are all chanting on the holy name, focusing on hearing the transcendental vibration of the holy name. And here, so we can see that how Akrura is glorifying Krishna, that he is the most supreme, powerful, possessing all kind of energy. And we know Krishna says finally in the 5th chapter of 24th verse, Bhoktaram yajan tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarva bhutanam gyātamam shanti vrichati. That the only way, that is the peace formula that when we understand that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, and that he is the one who's the most powerful and also the supreme controller of all the universes as well. So you can see here that Akrura is making such wonderful prayers, which are full of knowledge and which are full of love. And one of the things that really struck to me is um, my realization that has come from these 2 chapters, last 39 and 34 and 40, is that Lord is Bhagwan Sri Krishna is always reciprocating to his devotees. That's my realization about these two. Um, Akrura was so much eager to go and see Krishna and Balaram. All the way, he's so eager and he's so humble and he's always thinking, how can I meet Krishna? I'm not even worthy of seeing Krishna, and so many beautiful prayers, and he's always constantly thinking. So Krishna Bhagwan is also responding and reciprocating to his loving devotion by showing him his Mahavishnu form and Balaram as Anantaseshanag form. So Krishna is always, through these leelas, we can understand that the Lord and the living entities, Jivatmas, there's always a loving exchange that is happening between the Lord and the devotees. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, like, for all the other people or non-devotees who are very foolish and who do not
Hare Krishna. Is the freezing?
it's very, very important.
Shan Prabhuji, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I just seen that it's just, can you hear me all right?
You disappeared about 15 seconds.
Yes, Prabhuji. Suddenly I seen that it's just not me. I don't know what's going on. So I hope, you can hear me well. So I was just telling, like, the takeaway from these last 2 chapters is that Krishna, as he says, Ananyas Chintayantoma ye jana paryupashate tesham nityabhyuktanam yogashemam vahamyaham, where Krishna says, when you worship me out of full of devotion and meditating on me, I also reciprocate your devotion. So here we can see how Krishna is reciprocating his devotion by appearing in the Mahavishnu form. Similarly, for Arjuna, he appeared in the supreme universal form. So like that, so it all depends on how much of love and devotion and how much of eagerness that we have in serving Krishna. And that's how Krishna is also doing more than what we are expecting from him, by showing even Akrura must be so surprised that Krishna has given him such kind of a loving darshan of in a Mahavishnu form in Yamuna. Because people who come from the South India, we grew up worshipping in the Vishnu form. So for me also, at least, it took me a lot of time to understand about Krishna and how I can relate to Krishna, because Mahavishnu, and we all grew up worshipping Balaji back in South India. And it's such a beautiful thing through these leelas, we can understand how Krishna is like the Supreme Lord, and he can show up at any time as Narayan to his devotee in whichever form that we always wanting for. To Prahalad, he showed in Narasimha form as well. So the Lord is always so merciful, kind of like reciprocating and showing his different incarnations or the different forms, potencies as such. So we covered till here, where Akrura was doing all his prayers. Now we are doing another beautiful chapter, which is called as Krishna Enters Mathura, chapter number 41. I will just offer my prayer before I start this chapter. Hey Krishna, Karna Sindhu, Dina Bandhu, Jagatpate, Gopisha, Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta, Namostute, Tapta Kanchana, Gaurangi, Radhe, Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanusute, Devi, Pranamami, Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Sri Vasidi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Krishna enters Mathura. Another beautiful Leela unfolding. While Akrura was offering his prayers to the Supreme Bhagavan Sri Krishna, the Lord disappeared from the water, exactly as an expert dramatic actor changes his dress and assumes his original feature. After the Vishnumurti disappeared, Akrura got out of the water. Finishing the rest of his ritualistic performance, he went near the chariot of Balaram and Krishna and was struck with wonder. Krishna asked whether he had seen something wonderful within the water or in space. Akrura said, "My dear Lord, all wonderful things that are happening within this world, either in the sky or in the water or on the land, are factually appearing in your universal form. So when I have seen you, what wonderful things have I not seen?" This statement confirms the Vedic version that one who knows Krishna knows everything, and that one who has seen Krishna has seen everything, regardless how wonderful a thing may be. My dear Lord, Akrura continued, there cannot be anything more wonderful than your transcendental form. When I have seen your transcendental form, what is there left to see? So this is a starting of another beautiful Leela. There was one particular verse in chapter 15, Purushottama Yoga, when I used to read and I was trying to understand what exactly Krishna meant, where Krishna says, Yo mamevam asamuddo janati purushottamam sa sarva vidbhajate mam sarva bhavena bharata, where Krishna says, whoever knows me as the Supreme Bhagavan, without doubting is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. So the beauty, what I really like is like, if you are doing these things in parallel, when you're trying to read Bhagavad Gita and we're trying to do Krishna book, it is so beautiful because when we are reading Krishna book and when we try to relate to the slokas in Bhagavad Gita, it makes things much more clear and it makes much more easier for us to understand the slokas in Bhagavad Gita. So here, when Akrura is saying that, Krishna is his mercy is showing up where he's showing his transcendental form as Mahavishnu and Seshanag. And so all these kind of things will kind of like, for people who have so many cobwebs in their mind, how to relate Krishna and Vishnu. So in here you can see Krishna himself showing up his form as Mahavishnu as well. So here, and Krishna Bhagavan is giving us the knowledge, and Akrura is saying that all these wonderful things that are happening, and it's confirming that, even the Vedic version says, the Vedas say that one who knows Krishna knows he's the knower of everything. And Krishna says, and also like, iti gohyam tamam sastram idam uktam maya naga. He's giving the most confidential secrets of the Vedas. Krishna says in Gita. So here we can see that as it's been mentioned in the Vedas, Krishna is showing his beautiful, defined, transcendental form as Mahavishnu as well. So Krishna is so nicely is asking Akrura once he finishes his bath and he's coming back, have you seen anything wonderful? And the beauty is, like in Vrindavan, they don't treat Krishna as something different or is very special, because for them it is so normal to see all the leelas of Krishna, whether killing all the demonic kings and the demonic, animals coming in the different forms. For them, it is so normal. They think, yeah, for Krishna, anything is possible. So, and they always were depending on Krishna. So that is what's important in life, that we can hear from the leelas of Vrindavan that how much they were always dependent on Krishna. So Krishna is never disappointing them, that whenever they're putting the hands up and crying to Krishna, Krishna is always reciprocating. So through these leelas, we get this knowledge that this is what we need to do as well. Same like how Draupadi, when she was in pain, when she was being embarrassed in front of all of them, and Sushupal and everybody were there, and they were trying to even disrobe her garment. And that's when even Draupadi pulled her hands up and she did this beautiful prayer. Shankha Chakra Gadadhara Pani Dwaraka Nilaya Achyuta Govinda Pundarikaksha Rakshamam Sharanam Gatim Govinda Pundarikaksha Rakshamam Sharanam Gatim. And immediately Krishna appeared, and such a beautiful prayer. So it all depends on how it is. They say, like, what Krishna gives depend on in your asking, in your mood of surrender, and how much you are surrendered to Krishna. So the reciprocation happens based on us. So the most important thing is like our sadhana and how much we are deeply loving Krishna. So as we can see that we can learn from Krishna, and then from Akrura. And after saying this, Akrura immediately started driving the chariot, and by the end of the day, they reached the presence of Mathura. As they rode from Vrindavan to Mathura, all the passerbys along the way who saw Krishna and Balaram could not help but look at them again and again. In the meantime, the other inhabitants of Vrindavan, headed by Nanda and Upananda, had already reached Mathura by going through the forest, and they were awaiting the arrival of Krishna and Balaram in a garden. Upon reaching the entrance of Mathura, Krishna and Balaram got down from the chariot and shook hands with Akrura. Krishna informed him, "You may go home now, because we shall enter Mathura later along with our associates." Akrura replied, "My dear Lord, I cannot go to Mathura alone, leaving you aside. I am your surrendered servant. Please do not try to avoid me. Please come along with me, with your elder brother and cowherd boyfriends, and sanctify my house. My dear Lord, if you come, my home will be sanctified by the dust of your lotus feet, the water emanating from the perspiration of your lotus feet, namely the Ganges, purifies everyone, including the forefathers, the fire god, and all other demigods. Bali Maharaj has become famous simply by washing your lotus feet, and he enjoyed all material opulences and later on was elevated to the highest position of liberation. The Ganges water not only sanctifies the three worlds, but is carried on the head of Lord Shiva. The ancestors of Bhagirath, sanctified by this water, achieved the heavenly planets. O Supreme Lord of Lords, O Master of the universe, one can achieve piety simply by hearing your transcendental pastimes. O Supreme Narayan, who are praised with select verses, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. So we can see how Akrura is now finally reached Mathura, because he's been sent by Kamsa, especially, and Kamsa even offered his chariot to go to Mathura and to go to Vrindavan and bring Krishna and Balaram. And he was depending so much on Akrura because he was trusting Akrura with his job to go and bring Krishna and Balaram. But of course, as we know, Krishna is the very purpose he has come is to put an end to all these demonic people. And as soon as Krishna and Balaram, we can imagine from these verses that how beautiful they must be looking. Nowadays, even if you see a celebrity, people get dumbstruck, and they keep waiting outside their houses and things like that. So we can imagine how beautiful the Supreme Bhagavan Sri Krishna, and Krishna means all attractive in Sanskrit, isn't it? So we can see that how we can understand from the residents of Mathura that how much they must be really looking forward. And as we covered from Vrindavan, from Nanda Bhavan, actually they have started in different chariots. So we had even Nanda Maharaj as well as Upananda. They have started in another chariot, and Krishna and Balaram, they went in another chariot. So that's the reason why we can see that Nanda and Upananda, they already reached first, and they were waiting for Krishna and Balaram. And now Akrura, and so even though Krishna wants Akrura to go home, but Akrura wants Krishna to just come to his home and sanctify his home. And normally Bhagavan Sri Krishna never disappoints his devotees. We can know from Mahabharata when Duryodhana was offered a Maharajbhog for Krishna and invited him to come to his place to enjoy the Rajbhog. Krishna refused. He said this is not been done with the. It was been in the invite is with pride, but not with love for Krishna. So Krishna declined the offer. But the same Krishna went to the house of Vidura because he loves Vidura, and Vidura is a dear devotee of the Lord. And even though Vidura was not there at the time, his wife was so happy to see Krishna. And in that mood of ecstasy, of blissfulness, seeing Krishna, she has nothing to offer, and she has a banana, and she peels the banana and offers the skin of the banana. And Krishna was ready to even eat that because it was offered with so much of love. And Vidura comes in between, comes then, and then he tells her, are you in your senses? What are you doing? You're giving the skin of banana to Krishna Bhagavan. And then suddenly she comes to her senses because she's so absorbed in love with Krishna that seeing Krishna coming to her house. So we can see that, the devotees, they're always longing to have the darshan of Krishna. And here we can see from the Akrura, how much he's longing for Krishna to come to his house, and how even the Ganges which are emanating from the feet, that they are all, even people who go to the Ganges to sanctify themselves. And here you can see the Supreme Lord himself, he's here in Mathura. And so Akrura wants him to come to his place, and even the Ganges water is not only sanctifies the three world, but is carried on the head of Lord Shiva. So we can see from to these prayers that Akrura's prayers are continuing, and he's just requesting that so Bhagavan Sri Krishna to come to his places. On hearing this, Bhagavan Sri Krishna replied, "Akrura, I shall surely come to your house with my elder brother Balaram, but only after killing all the demons who are envious of the Yadu dynasty. In this way, I shall please all my relatives." Akrura became a little disappointed by these words of Supreme Bhagavan Sri Krishna, but he could not disregard the order. He therefore entered Mathura and informed Kamsa about the arrival of Krishna, and then he entered his own home. So Krishna is very clear, because when Krishna comes, he comes with the mission of doing of what he has come. He's just focusing on the mission that he has come, because Kamsa has been trying to always look forward to killing Krishna from a long time, and that's why he was even imprisoned Vasudeva and Devaki, and he's troubled them so much. And as we can see, even again, where Narada goes and informs Kamsa that Krishna is still there, and Krishna has been just taken to Nanda Bhavan, and then Kamsa is again ready to go and kill Devaki and Vasudeva, and how we can see that Narada Muni pacifies Kamsa, saying that there is no danger to him, danger to his life because of Vasudeva and Devaki. So his main thing should be to put an end to Krishna, because Narada Muni has a very important role to play in Krishna Leelas. He is always trying to accelerate and bring Krishna into action, because unless he instigates Kamsa will not go and send Akrura, and then Krishna will not come. So he has to accelerate the Leelas of Krishna. So Narada is doing his role in this Krishna Leela. So here you can see that Akrura, even though he's a little bit disappointed, but he has been asked by Krishna that Krishna said, that he's going to go to his home after killing all the demons. So here we can see that Akrura is informed Kamsa. After Akrura's departure, Lord Krishna, Balaram, and the cowherd boy enter Mathura to see the city. They observed that the gates of Mathura was made of first-class marble, very well constructed, and that the doors were made of pure gold. There were gorgeous orchards and gardens all around, and the whole city was encircled by canals, so that no enemy could enter very easily. They saw that all the crossroads were decorated with gold, and there were copper and brass storehouses for stocking grains. And there were many rich men's houses, all appearing symmetrical, as if constructed by one engineer. The houses were decorated with costly jewels, and each and every house had nice compounds of trees bearing fruits and flowers. The corridors and verandas of the houses were decorated with silk cloth and embroidery work in jewels and pearls. In front of the balcony windows were pigeons and peacocks walking and cooing. All the grain dealers' shops within the city were decorated with different kind of flowers and garlands, newly grown grass and pleasing flowers like narcissus and roses. The entrance doors of the houses were decorated with water pots filled with water. A mixture of water, yogurt, sandalwood pulp, and flowers were sprinkled all around the doors, which were also decorated with burning lamps of different sizes. Overall, the doors were decorations of fresh mango leaves and silk festoons. This is so amazing. This gives us a knowledge of how opulent the life was in those days, 5,000 years ago. Because India, as called as Bharat, had so many invasions that happened in the last thousands of years that people think that India is a very poor country. They think it's like they don't have anything to eat, but they have no knowledge about the ancient history of India, which is called as Bharat at one time. That how opulent, how beautiful, and how this entire sentences we can hear, we can understand how opulent and how rich Bharat was at that particular time. That you can imagine, even the doors were made of gold. Can you imagine like how the houses were? I mean, they were built up so beautifully in a symmetrical order, and even the crossroads were decorated with gold and copper and brass doors, and corridors of verandas, houses decorated with silk cloth and embroidery work. We know from history that India used to even trade with the Romans, and At one point of time, we were trading so much and exporting silk and everything. So India had like a lot of opulence at one point of time. But we were robbed, we were cheated, we were looted, and with so much of everything was taken away from India. 50,000 temples destroyed in the land of Bharat. So we can imagine everything was so looted, and finally now people say it's a poor country. But we can see from this Krishna Katha how rich and how beautiful life must have been. I remember going to the villages and seeing the peacocks out there. So here you can see within the city itself, you can see that on the balcony there were pigeons and peacocks, and it's all showing us like even the cloth and embroidery work and jewels and pearls. This doesn't look like it's a way we can just bring to our mind how opulent it must have been. Life must have been in Mathura in those days, and now Krishna and Balaram are making their entrance into Mathura city, and their observance and seeing that how Mathura has been at that point of time, even though of course it was being ruled by a demonic king like Kamsa, but you can see like how opulent the people are, and a mixture of water, yogurt, and even now we can see like in most of the houses near the entrance they keep a water pot so that people can wash their feet and things like that. Even in villages it's maintained even today in some of the places. So we can see that and of course burning lamps and decorations and things like that. When the news spread that Krishna, Balaram, and the cowherd boys were within Mathura city, all the inhabitants gathered, and the ladies and girls immediately went up to the for the roofs of the houses to see them. They had been waiting the arrival of Krishna and Balaram with great anxiety. And in their extreme eagerness to see Krishna and Balaram, the ladies did not dress themselves very properly. Some of them placed their clothes in the wrong place. Some anointed their eyes on one side only. Some wore ankle belts only on one leg, or wore only one earring. Thus, in great haste, not even decorated properly, they went to see Krishna from the roofs. Some of them had been taking their lunch, but as soon as they heard that Krishna and Balaram were in the city, they left their eatings and ran to the roofs. Some of them were in the bathroom taking their bath, but without properly finishing their baths, they went to see Krishna and Balaram. And some were engaged in feeding the children breast milk, but they put their babies aside and went to see Krishna and Balaram, passing by very slowly and smilingly. Lord Krishna immediately stole their hearts. He who is the husband of the goddess of fortune passed through the street like an elephant. For a very long time, the women of Mathura had heard about Krishna and Balaram and their uncommon characteristics, and they were very much attracted and eager to see them. Now, when they actually saw Krishna and Balaram passing on the street and saw them sweetly smiling, the ladies' joy reached the point of ecstasy. When they actually saw them with their eyes, they took Krishna and Balaram within their hearts and began to embrace them to their fullest desire. Their bodily hair stood up in ecstasy. They had heard of Krishna but had never seen him, and now their longing was relieved. After going up on the fruits on the roof of the palace of Mathura, the ladies, their faces joyful, began to shower flowers upon Krishna and Balaram. When the brothers were passing through the streets, all the brahmanas in the neighborhood went out with sandal water and flower and respectfully welcomed them to the city. All the residents of Mathura began to talk among themselves about the elevated and pious activities of the people of Vrindavan. The residents of Mathura were surprised at the pious activities the cowherd men in Vrindavan must have performed in their previous life to be able to see Krishna and Balaram daily as cowherd boys. This is the beauty of Krishna Katha, and how wonderful that Prabhupada has given us this narration. The narration itself speaks for itself, and to bring us to the vision that how we can always think about those beautiful days when Krishna was passing in the streets of Mathura. As we already know, as soon as Kamsa sent Akrura to Vrindavan, immediately all the people in Mathura, they were just eagerly waiting, actually, when will Krishna and Balaram come? At the same time, there was lamentation on the other side because the gopis were lamenting and there was so much of crying to Krishna that I know you're going to Mathura and there'll be nice girls out there and they will all be waiting to see you, and they will come to the balcony and have the darshan, and they're so fortunate, and you are going to happily enjoy having there, with all the people in Mathura coming to see you and all these things. So they're already the gopis in their anxiety because they're going to be missing Krishna so much that they're coming with all kind of thinking, and they were saying like, oh, I know you're going to Mathura, and they're happily, people out there are going to happily enjoy seeing you and all these things, and you'll be so annoyed by them and things like that. So that's exactly what is happening here, that once the news spread about Krishna, and you can see that how everybody is just like so astonished. And it happens in our material life, isn't it? Because the material world that we are living in is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. We can see, and some of the things that happen in our day-to-day life, sometimes when we see that suddenly when in live, when you go and seeing some celebrity and people get dumbstruck, and you can see in India also, right? Whenever there's some big celebrities, people just go and desperately go all the way just to go and see them, just to get a glimpse of them, because all these things that we are doing in this material world is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. But in the actual spiritual world, this is how it is. And all the leelas that are happening in Vrindavan, Mathura give us a knowledge that this is how it must have been in Goloka Vrindavan, because this is just a reflection of what's happening. And you can see that that divine place of Vrindavan and Mathura, all these things are, happening over there with Krishna and Balaram as well. And we can see that everybody, whatever they were doing, they were leaving everything and going onto the roof. And we can see the Brahmins, they're coming with the sandalwood water. So everything they're doing in order to just get a glimpse of Krishna and Balaram, because even in those days, they must have heard so much about how the gopis were in love with Krishna, and about how the Vrindavan, people of Vrindavan have been serving Krishna and Balaram, who were always going there with the cows and into the forest and taking care of the cows and coming back in the evening. And even with so much of a dust and everything that they had done with so much of activity that they'd done with the cows, still Krishna and Balaram used to look so beautiful. And we can see that the both of them, just seeing them itself was so joyful, and they were relishing so much in their heart, that even the mothers, whether there's women or whether it's mothers, whether it's Brahmins, everybody were just flocking to just go and just have the darshan of Krishna Bhagwan and Balaram as well. So this is giving us an idea, a knowledge about how beautiful it must have been in those days. And the residents of Mathura are thinking like what kind of pious activities that must have done in the people of Vrindavan to have Krishna and Balaram, because here they're just having the darshan for the first time. But for the people of Vrindavan, it's the day-to-day thing, because every day they were seeing Krishna and Balaram going, taking the cows and going and then coming back with them. So they kind of like they're understanding like how pious they must have been in the previous life. While Krishna and Balaram were passing in this way, they saw a washerman and dyer of clothing. Krishna was pleased to ask him for some nice clothing. He also promised that if the washerman would deliver the nicest dyed cloth to him, the washerman would become very happy and all good fortune would be his. Krishna was not a beggar, nor was he in need of clothing, but by this request, he indicated that everyone should be ready to offer Krishna whatever he wants. That is the meaning of Krishna consciousness. So how Krishna is merciful, isn't it? Sometimes he's giving a chance to his devotees to serve him in whatever capacity that we are. Like, for the washerman, he's just asking for a dyed cloth to give him, the nicest dyed clothes to give him. So all of us can serve Krishna in our own capacity. It is not necessary that we had to be opulent and we had to be very rich to serve Krishna. And that's the reason why Krishna makes it very clear in Bhagavad Gita. He says, Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhakta prayachati tadaham bhakti upahiritam asnami prayatatmana. So simple to worship Krishna. One flower, one leaf, one fruit, or one water, I will happily accept it. And so here to the washerman, he's saying, just give me a nicest dyed cloth. And he's promising that that he's going to be very happy, and this is what he happened. The real fortune is when we are worshiping Krishna, because Krishna is sitting within each and everyone's heart, and when he sees that we are doing with so much of love and devotion, he's reciprocating by making us very, very joyful, because he's sitting in our heart. And all the joy, because every human experience is happening within us, within our body, within ourselves. And so even every small thing that we do for Krishna, also Krishna is reciprocated. It doesn't take much difficulty for Krishna, because he's sitting in everyone's heart. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivisto matasmitir jnanam apohanam cha. He's saying, I'm the one who's seated in each and everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So all the good fortune would become when we serve Krishna. And this is the essence of Krishna consciousness. And if you take the whole of Arjuna's Bhagavad Gita also, if you can say, what is the simple substance or the essence of all of Bhagavad Gita is, in the beginning, Arjuna was ego conscious. He was always talking about, I can't kill, I can't do, I can't this thing. And after the whole, listening to the whole Bhagavad Gita, from ego conscious became Krishna conscious. He said, okay, I will fight, I will do this for you. And same like how here Krishna asked Arjuna to say, go and fight for me, do it, everything is for me. Yat karosi, yat asnasi, yat juhosi, dadasi yat. Yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tad kuru soma darpana. Where Krishna's instruction is, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, whatever you give away, do everything as an offering to me. And this is what Krishna is telling here to the washerman. As I always say, we can always relate Gita with Krishna Katha. And this is what Krishna is giving an opportunity for the washerman to do service for him. And in that way, he can be very happy and have all the fortune. Unfortunately, this washerman was a servant of Kamsa and therefore could not appreciate the demand of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Bhagwan. This is the effect of bad association. He could have immediately delivered the clothing to Bhagwan Sri Krishna, who promised him all good fortune. But being a servant of Kamsa, the sinful demon could not accept the offer. Instead of being pleased, he was very angry and refused the Lord's request, saying, how is it that you are asking for clothing which is meant for the king? The washerman then began to instruct Krishna and Balaram, my dear boys, in the future, don't be so impudent as to ask for things which belong to the king. Otherwise, you will be punished by the government men. They will arrest you and punish you, and you will be in difficulty. I have practical experience of this fact. Anyone who unlawfully wants to use the king's property is very severely punished. So we can see from there's so many takeaways that we can have from Krishna Bhagwan's Krishna Katha that is so important, right? The bad association is something which is always you have to be very mindful of, because when you're with 9 devotees, you will be the 10th devotee in the association, because whether we like it or not, somehow the association itself will purify our consciousness and slowly will become Krishna consciousness. And exactly will be the opposite side, right? When we are serving Maya, when we are serving the demonic people, and when we are associating with 9 sinful people, you will be the 10th one, because you are constantly under their influence as well. Because consciousness is something which is always happens with the association of people, of how the consciousness either gets purified or it gets contaminated like this. And here you can see that this washerman was having one of the divine opportunity to serve Krishna, but he is under the influence of Kamsa. He is under the influence of bad association. And we can see that even Mahabharata also, even though we have even Duryodhana also. Karna was happily they say like he was very, very daya guna. He had so much of daya guna and he had so much of people. He was ready to give everything, his kavacha and everything. But the problem was he was in the bad association of Duryodhana and he could not appreciate the Pandavas. So finally, what happened actually, because he was in the association of, he was on the wrong side. So that's why it is so important for us to be having this sense of discrimination, that being in the bad association and being in the good association, even though temporarily it may look nice that somebody is in the bad association of someone who's very powerful. So like, for example, sometimes even the politicians, they look very powerful. So you may think that, wow, if I'm, have my connection with this powerful guy, then I'm very safe because he's very powerful. But actually that person is very demoniac and he's very sinful. And such kind of a person, definitely, the future will always going to be very bleak. And if you are in the association of such kind of a person and taking the association and trying to be loyal to demonic people, even the future also, the fortune also will not be there, and they will also go in the same way of the destiny, what is meant for the wrong for the demonic people as well. So here we can see that this washerman is such an unfortunate person that he is declining the offer of Krishna, and not only declining, he is reprimanding them as well, saying that, that they're trying to, Krishna is asking for something which is actually meant for the king. So he's so much under the influence of Kamsa that he thinks that Krishna and Balaram are going to be punished, that if he ever wants to use the king's property. So he's totally, completely under the cover of Maya, or covered by because like as we say, the 3 gunas, he's in the mode of ignorance, because here he's got a beautiful divine opportunity to serve the Supreme Bhagavan Sri Krishna, but his association, and he's been in the mode of ignorance, that he's declining such a wonderful offer to serve Krishna. On hearing this, Lord Krishna, the son of Devaki, became very angry at the washerman, and striking him with the upper portion of his hand, he separated the man's head from his body. The washerman fell down dead on the ground. In this way, Lord Krishna confirmed the statement of the Brahma Samhita that every limb of his body is capable of doing everything he likes. Without a sword, but simply with his hand, he cut off the head of a washerman. This is the proof that the Supreme Bhagavan is omnipotent. If he wants to do something, he can do it without extraneous help. So this is something which we have to understand from Bhagavan Sri Krishna, where Prabhupada many times in the purports he explained that Krishna, one of the things is Krishna is omnipotent, in the sense that every limb of Krishna has the power to do all the other activities. Like with our eyes, we cannot eat our food, but when we offer prasadam, when we offer something to Krishna with love, Krishna can even enjoy the prasadam with his eyes and leave it in the same way, giving his blessing. So when we have to understand that Krishna is omnipotent, that for him, he needn't have to use his hand to cut off the man's head from his body. And here we can see that Krishna is doing that, showing his anger because he knows that this is a person who's in the mode of ignorance under the influence of Kamsa, and just with the upper portion of hand, he just cut off his hand. We would need a knife, or he would need something, a very, very sharp object to be able to do such kind of a thing. But for Krishna, it was just nothing. And the washerman just fell dead just by Krishna just using his upper portion of his hand. So every limb of Krishna works in this omnipotent way, and we had to understand, because many times people think, oh, you're offering something to Krishna, but do you think Krishna is going to come and eat? But they don't understand that Krishna, maybe in a deity form, he's just sitting over there even in the temple. In manna, we offer there's a Rajbhog which is being offered to Krishna, and all in the mornings and in the afternoons and in the evenings. So even if Krishna is there as Archa Vigraha, form of Krishna, Krishna can definitely enjoy everything. And when we offer with Krishna with our prayers, Krishna is also reciprocating by honoring the prasadam and leaving it in that way and giving his blessings over there. And which is what everybody is taking in the form of a prasad. So Mahaprasad. So we have to understand from this Krishna Katha that how powerful Krishna Bhagavan is, that when he wants to respond, and the beauty about Krishna is that as much as he responds so nicely and lovingly to the loving devotion of the gopis or the residents of Vrindavan, at the same time he responds accordingly to the sinful people or to the demonic people like Kamsa or his associates, or the people who are living under the influence of such kind of a demonic people as well. Ye yatamam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham. According to your level of surrender, Krishna is reciprocating accordingly. And as you can see, this has been mentioned by Brahma Samhita as well. After this ghastly incident, the employees of the washerman immediately dispersed, leaving the clothing. Krishna and Balaram took possession of it and dressed according to their choice. The rest of the clothes were offered to the cowherd boys, who also used them as they desired. What they did not use remained there. Krishna, Balaram, and the boys then proceeded along the main road. In the meantime, a devotee tailor took the opportunity of service and prepared some nice clothes from the cloth for Krishna and Balaram. Thus, being very nicely attired, Krishna and Balaram looked like elephants dressed with colored clothing on a full moon day or a dark moon day. Krishna was very much pleased with his tailor and gave him the benediction of Sarupya Mukti, which means that after leaving his body, he would be liberated and would attain a four-handed body exactly like that of Narayan in the Vaikuntha planet. Krishna also granted him that as long as he would live, he would earn sufficient opulence to be able to enjoy sense gratification. By this incident, Krishna proved that those who are Krishna-conscious devotees will not be lacking material enjoyment of sense gratification. They will have sufficient opportunity for such things, but after leaving this body, they will be allowed to enter the spiritual planets of Vaikuntha Loka or Krishna Loka or Goloka Vrindavan. Such a beautiful thing. This paragraph gives us faith in the words of Krishna, that as we can see that Krishna has cut off his hands, cut off the head of this washerman, but at the same time, as when all of them dispersed, now that they got a beautifully dyed cloth, now they got a tailor. And you can see that just in a matter of 2 paragraphs that we are understanding how is Krishna reciprocating to the washerman who's under the influence of the demonic king, who refused to offer to Krishna, his head was gone. And here we can see that the tailor who nicely stitched these clothes for Krishna and Balaram, who are looking like a wonderful elephant, and Krishna has blessed him with such a beautiful things that Sarupya Mukti, which would be liberation and getting a four-handed. What can be more beautiful? Just with a simple act that to please Krishna, that how Krishna is reciprocating. So these kind of a leelas give us so much of a joy, because we are always only thinking about instant gratification. We are only thinking about, in today's world, material world is all about instant gratification. If I do this, I get that. If I do this, I get this. But you can see that Krishna is not only blessed him by saying that as long as you're staying there, you can enjoy all the opulent, but at the same time, after you leave this body, you will be liberated and you will get this four-handed body as well. So we are not just talking about immediately enjoying your life, but also about how Krishna is responding. And the same thing for Dhruv Maharaj as well. He has offered, he said, yeah, you tell me what you want. And Krishna was ready to give him anything. So but we are always our lacking in faith because we are looking for instant response from Krishna. But Krishna Bhagavan will respond in his own way, at the right time, whenever it is. But we should always do our own sadhana. There is a nice comparison which is given that, when we want to go somewhere, you have to go and wait in the railway station, but you can't expect the train to come whenever you go to the station. The train will come exactly when it has to come, but you have to make the effort to go and just be there on time, do all your thing just to make sure you be there in the station. So similarly, we should always do our sadhana and wait for the grace of Krishna, because Krishna will always reciprocate at the right time whenever it is required. But we should always keep the faith and never forget Krishna and always remember Krishna. And this is what is happening here. Through this Leelas, we can understand that even an ordinary tailor, and he's not like someone who has is not a major saint or like a monk. He's a devotee tailor who just took the opportunity to serve Krishna, and look at how Krishna has responded. So these kind of leelas give us this knowledge from Bhagwan Sri Krishna, that is so that when we take to his saranagati, when we take to the surrender of Krishna, and as Krishna assures in Gita that will take care of all our sinful reactions. So here we do not know how many sins that devotee has done or what his future was, but definitely by just doing one small thing for Krishna, he'll be getting even a four-handed form of Narayan also in the Vaikunta planet. This is something which we cannot get by worshipping any demigod, because Krishna mentions very clearly that up to the level of Brahmaloka, everywhere there is going to be life and death. So even in Brahmaloka, up to the topmost planet of Brahmaloka also, you will enjoy, and after your merits of this thing is over, and then again you come back into the normal planet. But once you go to Vaikunta and Krishna Loka, and that is going to be the highest, and they never come back. So we can see from this such a beautiful divine Leela now that we covered. I would like to stop over here. Um, and just take realizations from everyone, or comments or any corrections or anything like that, because I think it's too much for us to just take so much of nectar that just Krishna enters Mathura and already the action has started. One person's head chopped, another person being blessed with the four-handed body of Narayan. So yeah, I would like to just ask everyone if anyone has anything that you wanted to share.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. It's a wonderful class. Wonderful. You always give wonderful class. You link with Bhagavad Gita and scripture. So it's very wonderful narrative. It's very consistent way. So I have one question, because I couldn't understand the washermen. What is their fault? Because they are loyal to their king, and people cannot recognize who is God, who is Supreme God. And even they recognize, doesn't matter, because they have to serve according their contract, they have to serve their king. It is their contract. So what was the fault for the washermen, please?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. I mean, because because not everybody is knowledgeable about God, and not everybody, because you can see like the same place, Mathura, how the residents are responding. They were so eager. They heard so much divine leelas and all that. So there were one section of people in Mathura who are like so much enamored and waiting to see Krishna Bhagwan. And so these people are maybe someone, again, everything is coming from past lives, that they were so had the blessing that they were able to even see Krishna on the going and Balram going on the streets. Maybe they were in a different, whatever pious activity that they done in a previous life. And so here also, when I seen that suddenly how Krishna has responded by cutting off the head. For an incident just because he refused and that. I mean, I could only think that maybe because he was under the influence of Kamsa, who's a demonic king, and maybe because we don't know what is the role that this person is playing in this life, or what has been in the previous life.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So this washerman, he was the washerman in the Treta Yuga who was causing Sita Mata to separate from Lord Rama.
Oh, see, that's what I
Sorry,
was just.
Prabhuji, can you give little more elaborate, please?
So this washerman, so in the Treta Yuga, when Lord Ramchandra, he returned back from the forest exile, and then he has been in the Ayodhya for 2 years, and everything is going on. So at that time, Sita Mata also was asking some of the desires to Lord Ramchandra. So it was very beautiful when we were in the forest. So, and Lord Ramchandra understood her desire to go back to forest, some kind of thing for tip. So that is one desire. And later on, after 2 years, Lord Ramchandra sent his messengers throughout the country to understand what is going on. And all messengers, they written back and say all positive good news. But one of the messenger, so when he was in the going around, so one of the washerman, he was fighting with his wife, and then this messenger was going in the street, and then hearing the fighting between the husband and the washerman and his wife. At the time, he says, here the wife of the washerman, she went to some unknown place and returned back, and he was not allowing her to enter into the home. So at the time he says, do you think I'm Lord Ramchandra, that who has received his wife into home, who has been with Ravanasura for 1 year in the Lanka, far away from home? And then he was saying, so that messenger heard, and then he was disappointed. And when he went to Lord Ramchandra, Lord Ramchandra asked, why you are like that? Then he doesn't want to tell that one, but he has to relate. And then when he says those words, and Lord Ramchandra was understand. So it is the Sita Mata was, and also Sita Mata desired to go to the forest, and this washerman is saying some fault finding with Lord Ramchandra. So that made once again Sita Mata to be exiled to the forest when she was pregnant. So that washerman in this life, in the Dwapara Yuga, when Krishna was present, now he has faced Krishna. So in this way, and he attained his fate like that. Ramnath Prabhuji, so if you have got any other angles of this, kindly share.
No, I actually, you're helping eliminate the issue, because I don't have any other angle. I was also wondering why it appeared the washerman got such harsh treatment. I don't have an answer.
Thank you.
Amar
So
Prabhu, is this from Bhagavatam? Is it anywhere mentioned in Bhagavatam? Maybe we can.
So I think maybe Ramayana and Mahabharata, and have read this one in the authoritative sources only.
Okay.
I'll share that one later on, Prabhuji.
Yeah, no problem, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Actually, it was such a timely one, because many times there could be cross references mentioned in other places. So that's why I was just asking. But it's a very valid one, yeah, Ratin Prabhu. When I was just reading this, and I was just thinking, like, yeah, there must be, because the Lord wouldn't do anything because we could making any mistake. But when the Lord is doing, there's definitely some reason behind each and everything that happens at that point of time. So, which is why I was just saying maybe it's something to do with the previous life, or maybe something which is the reason why this has happened, because the law of karma works in many ways, which is very hard to interpret. Ratan Prabhuji, sorry, that's the
Yeah,
only
yeah, lovely. Yeah, in
one.
actually, is as a, because they are worker for king, and they have to protect. They have to do. They have done their duty.
Yes.
For example, once person came, if someone is security man at home, my home, he has to protect. Doesn't matter who is there. He has to protect. He did his job correctly. It's fine, because he was not as considering they are not nothing wrong. They protected the king's property. They have to protect. It is their duty. But another angle, yes, is that they could not recognize. That is another thing. But second way, when Lord kill someone, or destroy someone, is not destroying. It is really liberation. So that is the ultimate goal. Actually, Gajendra and crocodile was fighting. Vishnu came and kill crocodile. So crocodile killing, it does not mean he was vanished. No, he was he got the liberation, highest liberation. Even Putana, or whatever, by Lord, the Supreme Lord, killing someone, is they got the highest liberation. Actually, ultimate. Even many lifetime we cannot do that.
Yes. Same thing with on the battlefield as well, isn't it, Prabhu? Everyone who has died in front of Krishna, they were all liberated. Yeah. So I think, yeah, they definitely, like, I think this is a very good point which Amoga Prabhu has mentioned. This could be the reason, because I did hear about that pastime as well from Ramayana, that because of that washerman, that Sita had to be again exiled, and maybe that could be the reason why this has happened as well. But again, as you say, like, in Krishna's Leela, everything that happens, even when Putana was killed, also, even she was liberated. So, yeah, these are all part of the divine Leelas for us to understand. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you, Amaga Prabhu, as well.
Because please, we have to think about more.
Yes,
I mean, the washerman did that. Okay, some people they are on the stage. Some ladies they are to see once moment to see Krishna Balaram. They are spending their life. We need many lifetime. They have to pray to see one moment, one fraction of time to see the Krishna Balaram. Even in the physically, we can see in the deity form. How long we have to wait in the big queue, long queue remember our Janmashtami, or going somewhere, some dham in India also, some dham. Only few seconds you can see, but even that you have to wait maybe 3-4 hours. Even you have to do more than that.
Yeah.
So that means only few seconds. So now Krishna Balaram, they came himself, but they could not recognize. It's normal. Even also Dijapatni, they could not recognize. Sorry, Dijapatni they recognized, but Brahmana, they could not recognize. So it's a normal. The washerman could not recognize. Even those who are a scholar of Veda, they could not recognize Krishna and Balaram. So that is my question was, even when I read, I think, what is the wrong of the washerman? Even their guideline, everything is okay, because they protected. If things someone has taken, they have to get punished. They will get punishment. So it's a normal way they are thinking. Although it is insulting for Lord, Supreme Lord, but without considering Supreme Lord as a normal way, as a civil person, they have to do that. They have to do as a property of a king. So we have to think about it. What is the main fault, main mistake was there? So logically, there is no mistake. By law, there is no mistake.
Yeah. Logic, yeah. That's the thing, no, Prabhu. With Krishna Katha, we can't apply logic. we can, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like, not logically, but in the by law, they did not do anything wrong because they have to protect. Their duty is to serve to their king.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, more than the incident, I think it is something to do with that this has to happen. Maybe is something definitely related to, as Prabhuji said, that he's just paying for what has been done because of him in his previous life or things like that. Prabhuji, I don't think Krishna was just taking that action just because he refused to offer him dye the cloth for him. It's just happening that this has to happen because of something that he has done in his previous life, that he was just paying the price for this in this life is the only thing that I can think of. Not otherwise, Krishna wouldn't get angry to just because he refused. We in this material world, we have this false ego that if somebody is refusing that, but when Krishna comes, the purpose is very clear, and the way he's going to respond to his devotees. And because unless somebody is really like a demoniac, Krishna wouldn't go and kill him actually. So the only thing I would think is maybe something to do with this.
Yeah, yeah.
Previous life. That's the only.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it was mentioned also because the bad association. Even those who are the butcher, those are killing, those are working in the butcher place, slaughterhouse. Those are working, and they have to follow their master. They got their salary. They have to follow their master. So I mean, logically, they are doing their job. It's fine. They are paid by their boss. But this karma, they have to get punishment.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that is the point actually. Maybe
Yeah.
Amon Prabhu want to say something. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So this is mentioned in the Garga Samhita. So in between conversation between Sri Bahulasva and Sri Narada Muni. So at the time Narada Muni says about this one, about the pastime of this washerman. So the question was, who was the washerman in his previous birth? Why did Lord Krishna kill him? Why did his spiritual effulgence merge into Lord Krishna's body? This is Bahlashva asked, and then Narada Muni says about the pastime. O king of Videha, in Treta Yuga, Lord Rama's kingdom in Ayodhya, as Lord Rama's species overheard this same washerman said to his wife, I will not maintain you a sinner that attends a dawn from another's house. Ramchandra, who is greedy to enjoy his wife, may continue to maintain his seat, but I am not like him. Hearing from many mouths that people were criticizing him, Lord Ramchandra at once exiled Sita to the forest. Lord Ramchandra had no wish to punish him, and in due course, this person became watchman in Madura at the end of Dwapara Yuga. To stop his blasphemy, however, Lord Krishna killed him. Then the Lord, who is an ocean of mercy, gave him liberation. This is Garga Samhita, Canto 5, Chapter 10, verses 1 to 8.
Thank you, Prabhuji. It's so important for us to understand the backdrop of these things that have happened. So, I mean, and we can see in our lives also, isn't it? So many things suddenly happen in our lives, and we can't understand why did something out of the blue happen like this. There's no logic for this. So it's so important to be understand that the karma works in such a way that its karma is always gets accrued over a lifetimes, because Treta Yoga, when it has happened, like when Lord Ram was there, and this is Dwapara Yoga, so much of life that has been passed on from there into now. But how karma works is really astonishing. How karma gets accrued over different lifetimes. That finally he gets punished out here in this way.
Yes, actually, every action has some reaction. Either it's not coming immediately, maybe
Yeah.
wait. Even another example was even Bamanadev came at that time with who came to see the Bamanadev, and who's that little boy, and Balidev sister. She was very affectionate with for this boy, and he came with milk. And when he saw that Bamandev his brother was punished and with the rope, and then he desired to give poison. So and for the next, he become as a putana. That is, I heard some aside become as a putana because giving the milk with poison. But her desire was very affectionate for the Lord. So some desire as even any desire is, I mean, anything is good to serve to Lord, even if it is a wrong way, wrong purpose, even though that is auspicious. That is a very special thing for Krishna consciousness. So that is any action to serving for the Haritoshana, anything happy, give pleasure to Lord is very nice. But this time it was criticizing, bless me, for Lord. So he has to get punishment. Although he remember Ram name, Ram and Sita name, that was the very auspicious. That's due to that they become liberated. Because he could not recognize who is Ram, who is Sita. This time also he could not recognize who is Krishna and Balaram. So he's a absence. He got the impersonal Brahman.
Yes. Yeah,
Thank you, Amak Prabhu also.
Yeah, thank you, Amaga Prabhu. It's always nice that you support us with the references, because there's so much of knowledge out there, and there's so much of cross reference between the different yogas, and it is so amazing to see like how karma works. And even for the Dhritarashtra also, I heard like, you know, in one of his life, many lifetimes back, he killed some 50 birds or something. So in order to attain the karma, the reaction for that, he had to take so many lives to get that punya to have 100 sons, and again take another life to see all of them get killed. So it is so difficult to complicated to understand how karma is accrued over a lifetime. It's just not next life that it gets happen. It is spread over many lifetimes. So it is so important through these leelas to understand that everything is being reciprocated and everything is being working that way, whether it's either we in favor of Krishna or whether it's a blasphemy towards Krishna. But yeah, that's a wonderful explanation, Prabhuji. Yeah, any other points? Yeah, I just wanted to thank, like, I think we
And
have
also just one more reflection, Prabhuji. So this is when Krishna was going in the Madhura, all people are coming with so much of enthusiastic to see Krishna, and they embrace Krishna in the mood. So this is also it is in day-to-day life we live in our lives. So for example, when there is a festival is going on in a village, the Lord is being taken as a procession. Everyone come from their homes bringing arati and then offer some kind of oil, incense, coconut, and some kind of gifts to the Lord. So, and then everyone are waiting to see the Lord to come in front of their home. They offer those things to the Lord. And then from there, they can't go nearer to the Lord, but they give these offerings. So this is, and also they embrace the Lord through their eyes. It is exactly applicable for us. This is day-to-day life. When we are in the temple, when you see the Lord, we embrace with our eyes. This is called Dhranta Bhavaha Parirevire Patim. Tam Atmajaha Drishtibihi Antaratmana Dhuranta Bhavaha Parirevire Patim, in the heart. This is one kind of mood. And also giving the gifts when the Lord is going as a procession in the streets. When we offer this one, it is exactly the same way that when Krishna is going in the Madhura, and the devotee Taylor is offering something, it exactly reflects in our life. We have that equal opportunity in this current life when the Lord's festivals are going on, giving gifts. It exactly the same. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, wonderful Prabhuji. And it just reminded me of one more thing. In Krishna Janmashtami, like, you know, they take Krishna in the palanquin, and they just show, they you know, they take to each and every stall and just to show Krishna, like, you know, all the devotees how they're serving in different ways, and we all offer our obeisances. Like, so when they came to the Goshala also, we just have, we just had to take our darshan and offer obeisances and things like that. And Krishna is going and seeing, he's just literally like, it's almost like Krishna and Balram going from one stall to another to see like how his devotees are performing, and all of us are like receiving Krishna in their stalls and just offering our obeisances and all that. So it was just remembering about that one as well. So when Krishna is always going like that, we just have to offer obeisances and whatever that we can do for Krishna in that way. So yeah, through these leelas, we can be able to relate ourselves, and maybe next time when we do also, that this is what we had to do when Krishna and Balaram are coming out through the street. So yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. That's wonderful as well.
One quick, Prabhu, one quick point that touched upon me when you talked about association was Vibhushana. Though he was from a Rakshasa family, he associated with Hanuman and he got connected to Ram. So he was elevated to the king, and he got moksha. Right? So association is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely, Prabhuji. As they say, Krishna is more happy when you're serving the devotees of Krishna. So yeah, that association is so important, and because everything is going to be a reaction, and that's the reason why in a human life it's very important to discriminate and just try to understand what is good, what is bad, and just that's the reason why Gita was given, for us to reflect and introspect and contemplate about it, and then take action accordingly. Krishna always gives us the freedom and the free will to make our choices, and gives us the knowledge also, so that we can use this knowledge and apply it in our lives. So yeah, we just wanted to, and I think this year's has been beautiful. We are looking forward to Gita Jayanti next Saturday, happening in Manor. And I just wanted to share last week, I mean, just to share our realization and our small thing. Last Saturday, we were going, myself and Araj, we were planning to go to Birmingham actually, for having darshan on Ekadasi Day. Krishna Bhagwan changed the plans, and Naraj, we probably had to just do some work and had to get busy with that. So Krishna changed the plan, and I was there in Manor, and just literally serving and preaching about Bhagavad Gita in the afternoon and in the evening, and doing the arti and things like that. So sometimes it made me realize that as devotees, we just have to be so much with an open mind and just serve Krishna in whichever capacity that we have. And we never know what's the plan. So always keep an open mind, just go with Krishna's plan. So sometimes when our plans keep changing here and there, we just always should take as Krishna's hand in each of our things that we do, and not be disappointed, but always see like Krishna's hand in everything. And Krishna wants us to do something else, then we should just plan accordingly and change our plans and just serve Krishna in whatever way we can. So it's been a wonderful thing serving on that day, on Gita Jayanti Day. And this next Saturday also, I think it's going to be wonderful. I'm not sure how many of you are joining from Manor. It would be wonderful. Rantan Prabhu, Sridhar Prabhu, Nagaraj. Of course, I think Nagaraj Prabhu is coming.
I welcome you.
Yeah, I know you both will be going, but yeah, that would be another wonderful occasion, the last occasion where all of will be in Manor reading Gita together. So yeah, and I want to thank everyone and Ramana Prabhuji for guiding us this year. This is the last Thursday before the year ends, and we covered this is the 41st chapter that we're going through, and we hope that we're going to get more and more nectar through this Krishna Katha, and even more realizations and more knowledge, cross-reference knowledge from Bhagavatam as well, through Amagha Prabhu's contribution in just giving us more knowledge and added to this, and Ramana Prabhuji's words of wisdom and insights from so many years of experience and being in Krishna consciousness. So I want to just thank everyone for your wonderful association. And I hope Krishna will give us this loving association and all of your association next year as well, as we continue with Krishna Katha. And I think the nectar is increasing day by day, every week, and as we cover the Krishna Katha. And I can't just wait to see like so many leelas that we're going to cover in the coming weeks as well. So thank you, everyone. Thank you all the devotees for your association. And feel extremely grateful and so humbled that we are able to share Krishna Katha with all of her devotees. This is really Krishna's mercy, I would say, on all of us. So please, I would request everyone to join for the Krishna Katha so that we can always have these wonderful discussions and realizations, reflections, and share with each other. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for your precious.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
I
Sean.
request
Hare Krishna.
all the
Thank you very
devotees
much.
to
Hare
do
Krishna.
3 loud Hari Bols to
Hari Bol.
Prabhuji.
Hari
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 Bol.
Hari
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 Bol.
Bol.
Hari
Hare
Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hare
Hari
Krishna.
Bol.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. As usual, every week you are shedding so much of nectar to all of us
Thank you.
continuously. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji, and your contribution is just immense. So many things that you're doing, I know, in Akshri Sangha and trying to bring more devotees and to read about Krishna, Katha and Gita and Japa sessions as well. So my humble thanks to you for all your great work and servicing, how we are serving our devotees. And this is such a beautiful thing that having that mercy and that service attitude that we want to bring more and more devotees. And I hope we'll meet more people in the next coming months and bring them to Krishna consciousness and bring us to our Sangha as well. So I will do my bit as well. Sometimes I may not be able to join Sanghas, other Sanghas, but I'm doing all that I can over the weekends, serving Radha Gokulananda, and so much I have plans actually in the next year that to how I can get better on my kirtan, how I can get better on so many fronts, and I have so many plans which I'm just putting down to see like how we can get better in the coming year in serving Krishna and all our devotees as well. So my Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhu.
वैष्णवाय नमः अनंत कोटि भक्त बिंदु की जय।
Jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Thank you
jai.
all very much.
Jai.
Hare
Prabhu
Krishna.
ki
All
jai.
glories to the
Jai.
Hari
Hari Bol.
Happy New
Hari
Year.
Bol.
Happy New Year.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.